Hey there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 319 of our Get Your Goals Annual Challenge. We're going to look at and focus on the area of the life framework emotional today. We're going to do a quick summary and a review and an audit of where we at with respect to the goal we set for ourselves in February of this past year. Now, I had a super duper busy day yesterday, so true confession, I did not go through all of last February's topics. I wrote them down over the weekend, put them on my calendar because March and February were not on my calendar. I am pretty creative when it comes to doing my content calendar for the year. I know I'm going to do an annual challenge, but I don't exactly know how that annual challenge is going to unfold on January 1st of every year. I know what the topic's going to be. I know I have an overarching framework of how I want it to look, but I'm not sure exactly how it's going to play out. So usually the first couple months of the year, every day I just come up with the topic. And then by March or so, I've come up with the format and the structure that I'm going to use for the whole challenge. So today I'm going to quick run through a summary. I'm going to try to be quick. It's been pretty long, each one of these summaries a month. We cover a lot in the course of a month, and it's hard to summarize it in just under 10 minutes. So let's get started. I'll talk about the topics that we talked about. And of course, our action item is to check in with the improvement area that we applied the SOAP framework to, as well as the at the end of the month, each month we do our 7-step goal getting process that we identified in January. We spent all of January looking at all kinds of different frameworks, like 15 or 20 different goal setting, goal frameworks, ways of looking at goals in order to frame them and come up with the process that works for us. And each month we've been testing it on the different areas and aspects of our life. And we did that in February. February was the first month, since it's Valentine's Day and my granddaughter's birthdays too, and my son's birthday. There's lots of birthdays in February. There's lots of birthdays in March. We did emotions, in February, so that we could dive right in and talk about and apply some of these tools and apply a lot of different tools to the different topics so that we could create the emotional goals and objectives that we wanted to get the results and get our goal over the course of the year. And we've had the longest amount of time to work specifically on this goal. So we want to touch base and see, well, where are we at with respect to it? So we talked about self-love topics. We talked about that we're emotional beings first and foremost. I know a lot of us, especially the more analytical and scientific and objective we think we are. I'm raising my hand because I think I am, but I'm absolutely positively totally not. If you ask anybody who knows me, they're like, yeah, you think your kids' emotions are always showing. Guess what? Guess where they got that from? So we talked about that we're emotional beings first, and we need to learn how to handle that for ourselves to get the results that we want in every area and aspect of our life. We talked about emotional energy, and that emotions have power because of the energy that they provide for us. Their emotions are on a vibrational scale just like everything else. We talked about emotional intelligence. We talked about emotional guidance system, which is one of the best tools you can use for regulating your emotions. We talked about the emotional guidance system and how to use it. We spent a couple days on it because it's that big a deal. We talked about what emotions do you want to experience most often, or what emotion do you want to improve? And that's how we came up with the emotion that we were going to apply the SOAP framework. I'm going to get this one so it's easier to read. Our SOAP framework is, of course, anytime we have an obstacle, a challenge, a setback, a problem, or a situation that we need to know how to handle, we can apply the SOAP framework. And by now, I've got this installed in my subconscious. I automatically run through this whenever I'm faced with anything, good, bad, ugly, because by having it in my subconscious, by doing it so many times and repeatedly, and embracing it and really putting it in my subconscious on purpose through repetition, now it just automatically works for me. And that's what we want to do with a lot of things in our life. A lot of these tools and things, we want to be able to pull them out of our toolbox whenever we need them. Flip switch, 7 Ys, etc. Whenever we need those tools, or whenever we're faced with a situation, boom, we apply them and we take action immediately. So we tell our current and desired story. We look at the different options. We take action after we analyze the possible alternatives and options. And then we ask ourselves, how do we know? Are we making progress? How do we know we're moving from where we are to where we want to be? And so we did that for 4 days. And let's see if I shared tools. I guess we asked ourselves, what emotion do you want to experience the most? And for me, it was love. And the least, for me, it was fear or pain. I'm not a big fan of fear or pain. And who is? Then we told our emotional story. And I wanted, my area was, I wanted more gratitude and to experience more gratitude in my life and be more present. And for options, we used the 10-3 brainstorming tool. And we actually reverse engineered. We went from where we want to be to where we are. And we said, well, what are the steps, if we're looking backwards, that we need to take in order to get there? Or what are the options to help us get there by reverse engineering? Then we talked about action using the head, heart, intuition tool. We then talked about progress, and our tool was tracking our feelings and giving them a scale. We talked about flip switching. I talked about emotional core values. We talked about embracing ourselves and others with love. And we talked about the 5 love languages, because that's always a great topic. We talked about letting go of negative emotions and negative feelings. And we used 8 different ways to release those. Just 8 different ways that I've used. There's a lot. Letting go strategies we talked about. We talked about a mood journal and the power of keeping track of your moods and understanding yourself better. We talked about card carrying emotion strategy, which is, I love these decks of cards, and this is just the one that's closest to me. But I have boxes and boxes of these different decks of cards from different topics and different areas of our life that we might want to work on or improve. For their personal development, they're about all different types of books now. I remember as kids, we used to have flashcards. Well, they've turned these books and sayings and motivational things into decks of cards. So I like to sometimes just randomly pick a card from a deck and carry it along with me to remind me and help me feel a certain way, or give me a topic to think about during the day. We talked about pain and the impact that it has on emotions. We talked about pleasure and the impact that it has on our emotional well-being and our ability to get our emotional goals. We talked about letting our emotions, feeling our emotions, experiencing them, letting them roll right through us. A lot of times when we're feeling or experiencing an emotion that we consider negative or bad, we try to stuff it down and forget about it and ignore it and do all the kinds of things that make it just either hide in our body somewhere or pop up in times when we don't want it to pop up. If we're really angry about something and we don't say anything, if we just shove it down and we ignore it, it might settle. That energy with that negative emotion stays with us until we release it and let it go. So we talked about that. I talked about, and then hopped into our emotional goal setting process. And for that, we used the process. Let me grab the process. Where is my little graphic? Here it is. Busy day yesterday. Left me discombobulated today. So we started in then the last 7 days of each month. Starting in February, I decided we're going to go through our process. So we went through our process. Sometimes I shared another topic with this, and other times I didn't. The first time through, I did not. I just shared the process itself when we went through the process. And I'm trying to see if I wrote down here or if I have to go back and see what my actual specific goal was. EGP stats. I can't tell from my calendar. But we did talk about a couple of other topics too. We talked about, we talked about a lot. We talked about trapped emotions. We talked about heart walls. That's something I'd never even heard of until I had a sudden cardiac arrest. We talked about energy vampires, which is always a fun topic. Have you ever been around somebody that feels like they just suck the life out of you and the energy out of you? Of course you have. We all have. And they are called energy vampires because they take all the good out of the positive, all your high energy, and they just deflate it and they take it for themselves to give them a feeling of power. It's why bullies are bullies, right? Bullies pick on people to make themselves feel bigger and better and good because they have insecurities. People think not. I have this discussion with one of my sisters a lot. People that are super entitled or bullies or just in some way negative and rub people the wrong way, they do it because it makes them feel good, not because it makes other people feel good. We talked about emotional decision making. We talked about emotional lessons learned. And we talked about the emotional interaction with other life framework areas. So we covered all the same topics that we covered throughout the rest of this year on the different areas and aspects of our life framework. But February and March were my testing months. So the order that we covered them in were a little different. And I realized, I think by April, let me take a peek, but I think I realized personally that by April, yep, it was too much to be combining a topic on whatever area or aspect of the life framework we were talking about, along with the actual process of working on our goal for that area. So February and March, I did mental and emotional. I combined this with an additional topic. And then I was like, okay, wait, that's way too much for me to handle or want to do every single day as part of this challenge. So I took that extra topic out for the most part for the rest of the months. So emotional and mental, we mixed that extra topic in. And primarily because February is a super short month, I wanted to squeeze in some topics that are super important with respect to our emotional health and well-being. And then March is a long month, but there was still a lot of topics. Mindset, our physical, mental, and emotional and spiritual. Those 4 areas of our life are so intertwined and connected that it's really, it's hard to separate them, right? But we have to, because we don't have to, but it helps to have specific goals and objectives for each different area and aspect of our life. And then where they interact, we can combine them to create one goal that by working on it from a different point of view and different perspectives becomes all that more powerful and all that more easy to achieve, because we are putting different types of energy into it. All right, that's it. Any questions, hit me up. We're going to be looking at what was our goal, where are we at with respect to our emotional goal and progress, and do we need to tweak or change what we've been doing in order to achieve this year's goal by the end of the year. Hit me up if you have questions. Otherwise, I'll be with you tomorrow. Have an awesome day. That's supposed to be a heart. Bye.